DOI's investigation of this matter began in the spring of 2023, when FDNY officials notified us of a possible scheme involving improper payments to two high-ranking leaders of the Bureau of Fire Prevention.
Two high-ranking chiefs from the New York Fire Department, they were arrested earlier today. The chiefs are facing federal bribery and corruption charges, accused of taking nearly $100,000 each to help expedite or influence fire safety inspections on building projects.
They allegedly created a VIP lane for faster service that could only be accessed with bribes. That's classic pay-to-play corruption.
FDNY Commissioner Robert Tucker released a statement about the indictment within the last hour saying, quote, every member of the FDNY takes a sworn oath to conduct themselves honestly and ethically.
Now get this, the man that was literally in charge of making sure that buildings didn't burst into flames was getting paid under the table to skip those important steps. Like, this dude looked at the fire code and said, nah, that's optional if the money is right. Meet Brian Cordasco, former FDNY Chief Fire Safety Inspector and apparently discount king of corruption. Over a span of years, this man raked in over $200,000 in bribes just to fast-track fire inspections. And not just any inspections. These were for high-end restaurants, luxury hotels, and businesses where cutting corners can literally be the difference between life and death. Now, the FDNY is supposed to be one of the most respected departments in the country. These are the people that we count on when things go up in smoke, literally. Like I always say, no one makes a song talking about F the firefighters. But lately, trust in New York City's institutions is burning down faster than a 5-alarm blaze. You got the mayor under fire for shady spending and political favors. You have ex-NYPD chief accused of steering contracts to his cronies for booty. And now a top FDNY official trading fire safety for cash of their top guys turns out to be a flipping fire safety reports for steak dinners and envelopes of cash. It's like finding out your neighborhood cop moonlights as a getaway driver. It's really messed up. But Brian wasn't working alone. Oh no, this was not a one-man hustle. He had help. One of his right-hand men, Anthony Sacavino, another high-ranking FDNY official. Then there was Henry Santiago Jr., a retired firefighter who figured out that the real fire hazard was how long rich people were willing to wait for a permit.
A newly unsealed indictment charges former FDNY fire chiefs Anthony Sacavino and Brian Cordasco with bribery, corruption, and making false statements. Prosecutors say during their time with the FDNY's Bureau of Fire Prevention, Sacavino and Cordasco carried out a scheme to accept tens of thousands of dollars in bribes in exchange for providing preferential treatment to people and companies who wanted their projects expedited.
Last week, a retired FDNY firefighter was also arrested and charged. 59-year-old Anthony Sacavino was chief of the Bureau of Fire Prevention, or BFP, making a salary of more than $260,000 a year. 49-year-old Brian Cordasco was making more than $250,000 as second in command to Sacavino, working as a staff chief of the BFP, which is responsible for fire safety approvals and inspections in commercial and residential buildings. These BFP approvals are often required before a building can be occupied or opened to the public. From 2021 to 2023, prosecutors allege the two would solicit and accept bribes from 46-year-old retired FDNY firefighter Henry Santiago Jr., who ran an unsanctioned expediting business.
The defendants took advantage of a backlog at the BFP in approvals and inspections, a backlog that was caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. They saw an opportunity to put priority access to the BFP services up for sale. Payments were then given secretly to Anthony Sacavino and Brian Cordasco, who then, as we allege, used their authority as chiefs at the BFP to push and expedite matters that were pending before the BFP.
It's alleged, at their direction, Santiago would tell customers he could fast-track their plan reviews and inspection dates for money, though BFP handled applications on a first-come, first-served basis. Prosecutors say they took advantage of a backlog of approvals and inspections caused by the COVID-19 pandemic.
They allegedly created a VIP lane for faster service that could only be accessed with bribes.
Santiago ran what you call this expedited service, which is a polite way of saying, pay me and I'll make sure your building passes inspection faster than it takes to microwave a burrito. He'll take calls from developers, restaurant owners, whoever had deep pockets and an open flame. Then he'll hit up Cordasco or Sacavino and boom, fast-tracked approval, no questions asked. Some of these transactions went down in steakhouses in Manhattan. Others inside FDNY own office in Brooklyn, like they were doing criminal handoffs in the same building that they wrote the safety rules. You couldn't script this any better if you tried. And the buildings they were approving weren't exactly mom and pop stores. We're talking about major venues, hotels near JFK Airport, high-end establishments where hundreds of people gather at once. You'd think fire safety would be, I don't know, non-negotiable at places like that, or any place to be honest. But apparently if you have the right connections and some fat checks, the whole system becomes a drive-through window. Pull up, pay, pass inspection. No sprinklers, no problem. Just tip your local fire chief on the way out. And this went on from at least 2021 to 2023. That's 2 full years of playing with fire, literally. And somehow no one stopped them. Until the feds showed up. Turns out when every luxury building in a city starts flying through fire inspections like it's the Daytona 500, someone notices. The feds started digging and surprise, surprise, what they found was a well-oiled bribery machine with no smoke detectors in sight. In October 2024, Cordasco pled guilty to conspiracy to accept bribes. He didn't even try to fight it. No fake tears, no long-winded I made a mistake monologue. Just straight up, yeah, you got me, which honestly might be the most honest thing that he has done in years.
The FDNY officials charged today allegedly took bribes to expedite the inspection process, undermining the fairness and integrity that are fundamental to our system. By doing so, they not only compromised public safety, but also eroded the public's trust in those who are sworn to protect us.
Cordasco got slapped with 20 months in federal prison. He was fined $100,000 in order to forfeit another $57,000 he made from the scheme. And while that might sound like a decent punishment, he still walked away with almost double over the years. So if we're being honest, the math is probably still in his favor. There's probably deals that the feds didn't even uncover. His partner, Sacavino, pled guilty too. He's definitely in the spotlight now. The man basically ran a concierge scheme for almost 2 years. You just don't skate on that. So this is where things get real, because this is not just about money exchanging hands, all because someone decided $5,000 under the table was more important than a working smoke detector. Let that sink in.
FDNY Commissioner Robert Tucker released a statement about the indictment within the last hour saying, quote, every member of the FDNY takes a sworn oath to conduct themselves honestly and ethically.
And sure, Cordasco is going to prison. But here's the real question. How many other departments have their own version of this going on right now? How many more hustles are out there greasing palms, skipping protocols, and putting public safety up for sale? Because if the fire department can be brought off, what else is for sale? Building permits, health inspections, your grandma's retirement home? This case doesn't just expose one bad chief, it exposes a system where people in power can operate unchecked, unbothered, and unpunished until the money trail gets too loud to ignore. And here's the part that really burns, literally. This wasn't even a part of the larger corruption probes going on in New York City. This was separate, meaning the fire department had its own little side hustle while the rest of the city was unraveling too. So what now? Cordasco goes to jail, the headlines fade, and we go back to assuming that our buildings are safe, even if they were cleared by a guy who thought bribes was just another line item. But it's just business as usual in New York. Unless you're poor, honest, or trying to actually follow the rules, then you're probably screwed. So next time you go to a New York City hotel, take a look at the exit signs, and maybe you have to ask yourself, did someone get paid to pretend this place was safe? Unfortunate, but that's the reality that we live in. Let me know what you guys think about this story in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.